Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Alan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs, and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And notably absent is our buddy Brandon Olmsted, but I'm sure he'll be here next week. I mean, he's on assignment this week, and we don't ask. You know, he moves in his own way, and so hey,
there might be a hockey mask involved. We don't know.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Never mind. It doesn't matter why it's interesting. We have a lot of interesting things to discuss today, but we're not going to tell you about it. You have to listen to the whole show. But trust us, folks, there's a structure and an order to this. But
we're getting meta with this.
It starts off, Max, because you had an interesting experience that we are going to piggyback on this week. So,
do you want me to not tease it, or can I just say it?
Just get into it, man. We're burning daylight. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So I had the wonderful opportunity on my friend's birthday to, thanks, by the way, to Kristen Bennett over at the Orpheum Theater for hooking me and my best friend up.
We love Kristen. She's a good lady. Yep.
I got the opportunity to see Hamilton at the Orpheum Theater on like the previous week or so. It was pretty exciting. I kind of came in with minimal expectations because I had like a inkling of what the plot was about, but I was pleasantly surprised, very blown away, and I was just the choreography, the lyrics, the whole shebang was like stellar, and I could see why it's so popular. Like, one of my favorite characters in the entire play though was King George III. He was one of the few people who didn't rap.
Yeah.
And he would just he would have these like monologue moments where he's just kind of singing in a sort of like British invasion, sort of old school rock and roll style.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, I hope you guys are happy. Just, it's like, it's super hard being a leader and like having your own country. So you'll come crawling back to me, my loving, loyal subjects. And it's like, he'd give the audience these awkward stares and these weird smiles and stuff like that. So, because he was, mad by that time, like in history, like he would like urinate, like he would like pee black urine or stuff like that. So they played up to the fact that King George was quite insane at the time.
Wow. I didn't know about the black urine. Okay,
that's
that's what causes that. That's anyway. I don't want to
Internal
get
bleeding, Joe.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. So it's interesting, Max, because as you're saying this, and I haven't seen Hamilton yet. I know it's on Disney Plus, Alissa, but I don't know. That doesn't seem like the same.
No, I didn't grow up in like a musical household, so we didn't watch musicals growing up, except for the Von Trapps. We watched that one.
Oh, cool.
No,
Sound of
okay.
Music.
Yes.
Sound of
Music that was it. But other than that, like, just wasn't big in our house. So I had never watched a ton of them. Didn't have a lot of experience in them. And as a child, my best friend took me to see Les Mis when it came out. Her and
I
her
also
dad.
went to Les Mis back in the day too.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down, and I was just excited to see this cool movie with Hugh Jackman and characters I recognized.
Russell
But-
Crowe.
Yeah, knew nothing about the film at all, or what Les Mis was about at all, or that came as a very famous musical. And so when Hugh Jackman started singing, and then never stopped singing,
And he
I
never
was-
shut up. Yes.
a little confused. I enjoyed the music, and I enjoy that soundtrack so much, but it was a lot to digest in a film setting. And then I was able to experience a musical in like a theater setting, and I was
Right.
like, now I see the vision. I understand why people do this. This is way more entertaining and like interesting and fun.
One thing I like about Les Mis, or like with Hamilton too, is it's kind of like the adult version of why kids are sung to like certain things like their ABCs, because like you get to learn about the French Revolutionary history. You get to learn about politics and American history and the Revolutionary War in a way that's fascinating and engaging, because it's like, it makes it, as you said, like digestible. It makes it like, okay, I want to figure out what a bicameral legislature is, or the Federalist Papers are, or one day more to revolution, so to say.
Yeah, what was Hamilton on about?
Yeah.
Let me Google that.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I think the theater, being inside of a theater with the actors there singing and having the experience that way, feels a lot more, I don't know, special, entertaining, less.
I think special's a good word, because
Boring.
it takes a lot of work to produce, to sing, and to dance, and to do all this choreography than just talking.
It's more textured when it's on stage.
Yeah,
It's much more interactive.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
that.
they can hear you.
Yeah.
You can hear them. And the other thing is, no performance is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that too, because I was listening to Kelsey Grammer talking about it was like an autobiography, and because he did a lot of theater, and he goes,
He did.
You got to
Yeah.
realize you're looking at us, but we're looking at you too. Like
Oh,
I mean, that
yes.
person
Yeah.
50 rows up, they're looking at them, and
Yeah.
that's cool.
Oh,
That's
no,
an
I can
interesting-
see you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is the largest audience I've ever stood in front of was 5,000 people.
Oh, wow.
And I got news for you. You can feel them. You can hear them. You can feel them breathe.
Yeah.
It's a weird sensation when you walk out on a stage like that.
Yeah.
Because when actors talk about the interaction between them and the audience, or especially stand-up comedians and stuff, because
Sure.
when you're out there teaching or instructing
Yeah.
or singing or whatever, you got no place to hide.
Yeah.
It's
No.
you.
Yeah,
It
under
is-
that
It is
spotlight.
all you.
Yeah.
And, a special shout out to one of my favorite musicals. And I know it gets trashed on a lot, but Cats.
I knew
If
you were
you-
going to say cats.
If you, please forgive that whatever thing is they filmed. Don't do that.
Yeah, I would never watch that.
No, that's nightmare fuel. But a live performance of just silly entertainment.
Yeah.
You don't have to think. You don't have to learn. It's just a little classical, silly little book brought to life. And if you want to watch, now see, I took my godson and I very evilly put him on the outside row.
I was about to say.
Yeah,
So,
we've heard this
Let me
weird
tell
story.
you,
Yeah.
did the kiddies discover the cute kid? Yes. Will he
Poor
remember
little
that
boy.
and probably need
Yeah.
therapy till he dies?
Yeah.
But it was such it was just a fun entertainment. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, and this is my problem with the price of movie tickets today. Because if I'm going to pay that much for a movie ticket, I'd rather
Yeah.
go over to the Orpheum or Playhouse on the Square or somewhere else and get that live interaction.
And where I feel the beauty of these live interactions is its impermanence. You can't go back and listen to a recording of it again.
Yeah.
It's a moment in time that you never get back, but hopefully you'll always remember. So, all right, we're going to continue talking about that when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Someone should throw their microphones into the fires of Mount Doom. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Alan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And Brandon Olmstead will be back with us next week. And he's missing out because today we have some interesting conversations going on, really about live performances and the dynamics at play. Because Max went and saw Hamilton this week. I was just reflecting on something, you guys, because we've been talking about, well, Alan always is going to bring up Cats anytime you mention live theater, whatever.
Yeah.
But Alissa, you talked about seeing Les Miserables and not knowing it was a musical.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking how jarring that would be.
Yeah.
But as I was looking over when I'm thinking about some of the most successful Broadway musicals, I keep thinking about the pitch meeting for these and how did these things even get green lit? Like okay, we're going to get a bunch of people in spandex dressed as cats, and they're going to sing this, and it's one of the
I
most
think-
successful shows. And
Ever.
a lot of these, a rap show about the founding fathers and all. I mean,
Because Alexander Hamilton was fairly insignificant until this play kind of popularized him.
yeah.
I think that and I'm sure Alan would know more. I feel like with a lot of these, it's just someone who's really passionate and they make it happen, and they just get the right people to look at it
Right.
to get it to the
Oh.
next place.
Well, take like a Phantom of the Opera.
I don't think you can write Cats. You can't have that story in your mind and not be a little, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that when you want to tell a story like that, you're going to do it regardless. And he just was able to probably get it in front of the right person.
Yeah. And you got to commit to the bit.
Yeah.
You
Well-
can't do anything by half measures. You have to okay, this is our premise and we're leaning into Hadestown was a lot like that too.
Well, Avenue Q, and Alissa, I look directly at you when I go, have I got a musical for you?
Oh, boy.
It is modern.
Uh-huh.
It is a modern corner dealing with modern issues, and it is a blend of live action and Muppets.
Oh, okay. I do love
And
Muppets.
let's just say some of the songs are a little modern. And it's just modern life. It's people like you living in a neighborhood, you and Max.
Like Rent. That was a modern.
Rent was
Yeah.
another one of, and then you get into, your truly your classics, when you start looking at, when you actually, this is how you know you're truly hooked on theater, is when they kind of go, we're going to do a Mozart revival. And you go, I wonder why are we still talking about this guy?
Yeah.
And you go, and then you kind of go, oh, he was nuts.
Yeah.
But the music was amazing.
Yeah.
And you're right. Some of the ideas, and I love to pick on Cats because it's silly. There's nothing highbrow about it. It's just entertaining.
Yeah.
But then you go see Madame Butterfly, or you go see Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And, Sunset Boulevard's kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's a musical, but let me tell you, it's kind of hard. There's some moments in it where you're going, ooh, I'm having the same emotions as the people on the stage.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's interesting when things that seem silly, all of a sudden, when you're vulnerable like that, can be completely disarming to you. I'll take an example. Some of the best theater experiences that I have had are in smaller venues. I went to see this play at the University of Memphis Theater, where it was called She Kills Monsters, and it was all about this older sister discovering the life of her deceased younger sister through her character in Dungeons and Dragons. And
Wow.
it had such disarming moments, because it was like this sister is discovering this side of her younger sister that she's never seen before. And it was like, did I ever really know her? And so
Yeah.
it's like a comedy, because it's like these goofy guys and these wizards and these bards making all these gelatinous
doing-
cubes jokes and stuff like that. So it's interesting how the live theater experience can make you so vulnerable in a way that a movie theater experience is, because all right, I can just rewind this, rewatch it, wait till it gets on streaming, but you can't recapture that moment and that emotion with the live theater experience.
Well, let's face it, in movies or theater or anything, even bands, the quirky character is the one that everybody's watching. Like you just said, King George III.
King George III.
He was the one, and he probably wasn't on stage that much, right?
But he made his presence known. There was
Yeah.
even a scene where he got in with the rest of the crew, and he was just insulting Hamilton when he was outed for his affair. It's like, look at these guys now. It's just he makes his presence known, or they keep him him in the rafters. So it's he's there, but he's not always present, or he's not always vocal. So it's he's ever present, but at the same time he makes his presence known when he makes an impact when he's there, and then he just goes.
Yeah. So there you go. I guess that's the recipe for.
All right, well, let's pick on one of the biggest movies of the year. Has been one of the biggest Broadway plays for decades now, and that's Wicked.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People went bananas.
Wicked is nothing more than a what if.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if we got to know Glinda the Good Witch when she was in high school?
Yeah.
All right, so you talk about your pitch meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a wonderful live with Bernadette Peters years ago called Into the Woods Tonight, which was, and they lived happily ever after the day after. And Prince Charming isn't quite as charming as he used to be. And now we got these problems, and now we got to, you said you saw The Lion King.
Yeah, so I've seen The Lion King, Book of Mormon, Beetlejuice, and Hamilton.
All right,
all
describe The Lion King from your point of view.
It was amazing. Lion King is one of my favorite movies as a child. I loved it. I watched it on
But
repeat.
the play and the
Great
movie
movie,
are
yeah.
almost
Yes.
nothing alike.
Yes. And so it was so exciting to be there. And I'd never seen the play. So I wasn't expecting them to be coming down the rows and all the animals marching to the stage. And I was like, this is theater? They're
Wow.
here with us? That is so cool.
The antelope is next to me. Yes.
It was crazy. And they were all so talented, and the set designs were so beautiful. Just the attention to detail there is so impactful. And it has to be because you have to be able to see it from far away or close up, like you need to. It needs to look good.
That's a perfect example of the set being a character too.
Yeah.
Oh, using all the tools at your disposal. All right, well, we're going to unpack that when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Okay. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Alan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And boy, a bunch of theater kids today. We're talking about, well, what sparked it was Max's visit to go see Hamilton this week.
Again, thank you to Kristen over at the Orpheum.
Oh, yeah. We love her. Kristen, great lady over there. And also, because she gave you free tickets and they were pretty good seats, weren't they?
I was like in row D.
Yeah.
Like the right of center.
Oh, wow.
He was using
was
his
nice.
media credentials to score some
So
good.
you scored
And make a
good
memorable
spot.
birthday for my best friend.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
so nice.
But before, and she had a good time too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so before the break, this is you were sort of talking about one of the great things about theater is all the tools at your disposal, including the fact that like when you saw The Lion King, these I don't want to call them puppeteers, but I guess they are. These are like
They are
reverse
puppeteers.
marionettes. If you haven't seen it, go Google these things. They're impressive. But
Yeah.
they were coming down the aisle. The
Yeah.
whole theater is at
Yeah.
their disposal.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
why
That
not
giraffe,
use it?
a giraffe-sized thing came down the aisle.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And that led me to the whole idea of the set and the set design being a character in and of itself. Because when I went to see Hamilton, the set itself actually stayed the same with the exception of a few props that moved around or a stairwell that they moved from one position or the other. But the thing that really stole the show, so to say, was the revolving center stage. Like, because you're talking about like impressive choreography, it all revolved around the revolving stage. Like when Hamilton and Burr are squaring off and they have that moment where it's like before the shots are fired, it all took place on like on the revolving portion of the stage. And then when they had to have that drop the mic moment, the stage stopped.
Ooh, oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was cool.
Hadestown did that too, really
And
effectively.
Hadestown,
yeah.
I thought, actually went down, not just spiraled like it's kind of like an auger or a drill.
Yeah.
That's so
but
cool.
but a simple, but it's like that's another situation of not overcomplicating
Yeah.
something. I think more. I feel like back in the day when my mom would take me to the opera, I feel like the sets were more complicated. There was more things to distract you, and today I feel like there's more of a minimalist approach. What do you guys
Well,
think?
depending upon who you like to follow, but in an opera, a lot of times they need points to draw your attention to something while they do something over here.
Yeah.
So you're looking up while the stagehands are doing something, and
Yeah.
and then then the lights change and magic has happened, and the water is now over here, and you know.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things, I was in The Bald Soprano, and I know you're shocked.
That's a real
Wow.
name. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's one of the most. Really, we got to get you out more.
No, hadn't heard of that.
It's an Ionesco, which is an insane British play,
Oh, wow.
and the clock torments me the entire play. And the clock is actually a person, and who like steals my newspaper
Yeah.
and just but the clock is just basically a 90-minute improv of torture the big bald guy.
Yeah.
And he does stuff constantly that's in the script and not in the script because you got 90-minute carte
You don't
blanche.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every show you went to, he is doing his level best to take me out.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
And it's just hilarious because, we ran for a week here in
Yeah.
Memphis, and everybody got a different show.
version. Yeah.
And 10 years later, I'm still hearing, well, Thursday night when the clock moved the couch on you, and
Yeah. Yeah.
because then you pratfall and you miss the couch. And,
Yeah.
so welcome to these things. And you talk about the set. Have you guys ever seen Peter Pan?
I saw that at Playhouse on the Square.
Boom. Alyssa, Peter Pan, another one that is so perfect
I'm
for
sure I'd
you.
love it.
Because Peter Pan flies.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's always the trick there. Yeah.
Well, but you get to, because it's on stage, you do get
Yeah.
to see the rig and all that, but you really have to admire the actor or actress,
Yeah.
usually an actress playing Peter Pan. They got to get in that thing, and then they got to perform while somebody on the other end is slinging them around
Yeah, you
on
got
a
to
rope.
trust those guys a lot. So
What I get from all these too is that every theater experience has its own separate, like, strong points, so to say. Because, like, you were talking about the improv nature of the Bald Soprano, or Peter Pan with the character flying, or with Hamilton, the revolving stage. It made me think, like, what if we think back, what would be the focal point of, like, an ancient play, like, or like
Probably a
Sophocles?
fireball.
Yeah, like Sophocles, or like with Shakespeare. At what point in Shakespeare was there any points of improv? Because we just have the skeletons of the script of, like, Hamlet, but, like, what were some of the most memorable moments, you wonder, in, like, ancient and classic theater experiences that we can still kind of bring?
We know those well because we still do
They
them.
wrote papers about it.
We still have a lot of these classic plays, and we still do them. The best example I can give you is go look at a copy of I, Claudius, which was basically the filming of a live action play with every major actor and actress for the next 40 years. Because I, Claudius is pretty old at this point. It's mid 70s.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was filmed as if it were live on stage.
Yeah.
And of course, the most famous one of all, that the movie won't die and the stage show will never die, is the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it well, never mind.
It doesn't matter. Hey, Joe, it does not matter, because that bad boy the movie is 50 years old at this point, and
Yeah.
still a Saturday night at midnight special. And guess what? The show still plays.
I got a
Yeah.
quick question, because they do live live versions of the Rocky
Yes,
Horror.
they do.
Is the audience allowed to participate the way they
Yes.
participate in that? Because
That's the whole
its
point.
own performance.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I was just saying, yeah, it does.
Because that I've never seen that. My son was like, he would go to the theater, and that was like they did it once a month. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
talk about oversaturation, but
No, it was
these
People
Rocky
love
Horror
it,
guys
yeah.
are hardcore.
It's
man.
a live performance. Why does the SCA dress up and whack each other like they're medieval knights? Because it's an event.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, we hope today so far has been an event, but we're going to continue when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Alan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs, and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And Brandon will be back next week, and I bet he's kicking himself that he's not here today, because we're having a pretty interesting conversation about live theater and the dynamics involved in a live performance.
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing real quick, because you guys made me think of something. Max, you were talking about seeing Hamilton and how the songs really surprised you, how catchy they were, and how much you enjoyed it, and how it made you want to go learn about American history by listening to these songs.
They harnessed rap in a way, because I think rap, when it's done correctly, is like a very effective medium, because it's very poetic, and rap in that musical in general, like, it was like an effective and like powerful way, because like when they dropped like certain words or whatever and weaved it properly, it was like, whoa, wait, what?
Well, and you can usually understand what the singer is saying, too, which helps, because sometimes in rock music, I'm like, okay, what are they saying? I don't understand. But what I was going to say about that, Max, is it makes me think that music just is such a powerful influence on our culture. And especially, I was just thinking, Alan, you and I grew up with Schoolhouse Rock. And
We
to
did.
this day, Alissa, I don't know if they had a version of Schoolhouse Rock when you were a kid, but when I'm having to multiply by the number 3, like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, I remember that song. I learned about how bills and legislation are passed.
I know that
I
song
learned
'cause my
about
sister would sing it to me.
yeah, conjunction, junction.
Yeah, and that one.
And a lot of these things, I mean, I was a 6-year-old kid watching this, but that stuck with me more than my English class or math class.
It's funny that you say that, because I heard that part of when you grow old and become more wise, they say it's not necessarily so much of learning as unlearning. And so it makes me think that a lot of what I a lot of what I learned in grade school kind of is lost on me. And the stuff that I'm kind of that's sort of the stuff I'm unlearning. And so the stuff that I relearn is actually the stuff that's more effective for me. It's like when I went to college, it's like I kind of had to relearn certain things. And it's like that actually is when I gained greater wisdom and knowledge, is from that unlearning process, like gaining, like from my own independent studies, like you said, like with Schoolhouse Rock. Sometimes it takes a television show or a musical or whatever to spark genuine creativity, because it's not something you're forced into. It's something you openly receive.
Boy, Max, talk about a full circle moment. 10 years ago, Alan, because, we are coming up here on our 10-year anniversary of Geek Tank Radio.
We are indeed.
We interviewed the legendary film and stage actor John Delancey.
We did.
And he told us, Max, almost exactly what you're saying. He studied at Juilliard. He is a, professionally, he's a well-seasoned actor, and he's trained. And we asked him what it was like to go to Juilliard, and he goes, well, I had to spend most of my time after that unlearning what they just taught me, because it was an obsolete business model. What he learned was just not, it would have been great 200 years ago, but it was for
applicable.
a world that is not,
Yeah.
And Alissa, tying in with that, it made me think, because off the air we were talking about the more minimalist approach to stage design.
Yeah.
I find it more effective, but you actually had a pretty good idea about that.
Yeah, I was
too.
saying I feel like it's because in the more modern theater era, a lot of these shows go on tours now, whereas before they were just in one place. If you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't, sorry.
Yeah.
And now they kind of go everywhere, but they got to be able to take those sets with them, because that is, like you said, a character too. And so I think they have to make it a little easier to pack up and ship to these places. You don't want it breaking, and if you got to fix it in another theater, you need to be able to do that easily.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of tying that into, I'm very unapologetic with my love of the Japanese culture. And one thing I like about the way that rooms are laid out is all the empty space, and the stuff resides more so in the corner. And I like the idea of set design being more empty, so to say, because it leaves more room for moments to happen and for actors to breathe. And so I think the less is more approach is better.
I would think, too, if you're on stage and you have this big, complicated, busy stage set, it's probably distracting, and it's probably harder to,
dangerous.
What if that stair is wobbly and you got to go up and down those stairs 50 times in this performance or something?
Well, a lot has to do with, I'm going to say, matte painting in the background, and a lot has to do with the lighting.
I knew. Yep. Boom.
The lighting is almost everything in live theater, because you are going to follow the light.
Yeah.
And if they want you, I'm trying to remember, I think it was the Carol Burnett show that used to end with her as the old lady sweeping up the light spot.
Yep.
And she would keep making it smaller and smaller. That was classic theater control.
Because the Carol Burnett show was a theater show. It wasn't even.
It was in front of a live audience kind of thing. Yeah.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that too, because some of the funniest moments in Hamilton kind of occur with the effective use of lighting. For example, Hamilton had written this royal insult to John Adams, and he was at the top part of the stage with all his papers. And when he had this moment where he dropped a bleep and everything, the light became red over his face as he was swearing, so to say.
Now that's interesting. They visually bleeped them or something. I don't know, man. But it makes, saying all this makes me want to go see a theater performance. But I guess I'm wondering, though, that probably you don't get the same vibe when you watch it on TV, right? I mean,
I don't think so.
That's why I haven't seen it yet.
Well,
I don't want to watch it on Disney Plus.
You can't. If you do enjoy it, you can go watch an old version of Peter Pan. It's online. It's there. One of my favorite ones forever was just a dinky little play called Present Comedy, which was just an aging actor getting ready to go out on tour, and the insanity of 90 minutes of his life trying to get on tour.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything special, wasn't anything great. It wasn't, terribly funny. It's not horribly well remembered, but it was fun. It was just plain fun. And that's what the recording is for. But if you really want to get punched in the gut, you got to go see Gypsy. You got to go see Sunset Boulevard.
And Also, don't sit in one place every time. Go sit in different parts of the theater.
Yeah.
'Cause depending on where you're sitting, it's a whole different performance. But pretty cool conversation today, Max. I have to hand it to you. And I'm looking at my notes. We didn't even get to everything, but maybe we'll pick this up on a future show.
And once more, I just wanted to thank Kristen and all the wonderful people at the Orpheum Theater for a great experience for my friend and her birthday.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kristen. We love you over there. But it's time to get out of here, you guys. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Alissa Diggs.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Alan Gilbreth, reminding you that, well, all the world's a stage, and the rest of us are just merely players.